Hi everybody, so here we are today with Andy Kitchener of Semperfli and Paul Procter, Ambassador for Semperfli, and today they're going to be talking through the new ABC's realistic body range. And I'm going to hand over to these guys now and they're going to have a chat about all the many features, benefits and bodies in the range. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Anne. Andy, it's been an interesting day. As you know, I arrived this morning, a bit of a baptism of fire.
Not knowing what was coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sort of, I feel quite inspired. Obviously, my first question to you is the concept. What was it? What was the...
If you look at Semperfli as a company, we produce materials, and I wanted to do a lot more. I've been very lucky through my life. I've travelled all around the world, done lots of fishing for lots of species in lots of different types of waters. And the problem is that a lot of the time I haven't been able to get flies that were realistic enough for the species I was after. And I decided that I'd invested in a huge commercial laser, and I thought I could do something a bit different.
Rather than eye surgery.
And as you saw this morning,
Yeah.
It's a bit different.
It's very different, quite exciting in many ways. Obviously, we're all different, as we discussed earlier. I'm sort of my mainstay, if you like, of fishing's dry fly fishing. So to come into this, it's not alien to me. It's just different. But by the same token, it's quite thought provoking. And you tied a wee frog earlier that I instantly thought, God, that, do you know, as silly, no, the small one, just pass me the small one, this little fella here, I mean, that's going to catch UK brown trout, is that?
Yeah.
And if you fish it dead drift, it's a dry fly. No, I'm not. But no, it's interesting. I mean, the material, talk to me about that, because it looks very sort of flexible. Mobile.
Basically, we started off doing the foams and foam cutting lasers, and that was the precursor to doing this, because this took a lot more work, a lot more design. What we've done is we've got a synthetic suede, and I've seen people in the States using real leather. And the problem is they're using Stanley knives, they're using blades to try.
I've been there with leeches and things like that, actually.
And that's been the problem. The market and the technologies have changed so much.
Yeah.
I can do things now that 10 years ago you couldn't have even dreamed of with, the tools we had. I mean, if you remember, a lot of people were using the stamps.
Yeah. It's funny how we both said that together.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly for me, what's very impressive is the sort of detail, especially on these stonefly nymphs you're able to achieve. You know, I mean, as a river fisher, they instantly sort of appeal to me.
Well, if you look at what the laser does as a technology, it allows us to cut really fine, amazing detail. But because we're burning the material to cut it, the plasma, as it burns, actually seals the edges.
I can see this. It actually makes quite an attractive colour as well on the edges.
It gives you that slightly yellowed effect, but it seals the edges. It makes them really robust. I mean, this material we've been under development for quite some time, because my questions were real basic. Firstly, would it work as a tying material? Would it go through a bunch of weeds and rip apart?
Yeah.
I want flies that are resilient. I'm never a tyer in your league, but I'm a 5-minute fly person. I need to be able to tie a fly really quickly, and if I lose it, I lose it.
Yeah.
And I'm now able to produce flies that are probably light years ahead of my capabilities.
Right, okay. I won't quite go that far. But...
Well, I never claimed to be, a professional tyer, but I'm lucky. I work with tyers all around the world. We've got a huge business in the States, and that's where some of these things are really aimed. But they will work in every single water. The first thing I did was develop a material, and I'll get the beastie out. The first thing I wanted was a material that is mobile. Now this will soak up water, it will be very, very mobile in the water. You can see it is completely flexible. And I mean, if I showed English still water, or let's go down to the test and show them this, they will freak. But that is a Dobson fly in America. That's a nice big bitey insect. But because we can rescale, actually that as a individual fly, you take down to this size, and as Philippa Hake turned around and said, that's money.
Yeah.
Throw it in the English rivers and you're away.
So from my side, I've actually dabbled with them today and come up with quite a nice hydropsyche, just off the small ones. Refined it a little bit. The legs were a tiny bit long, so I trimmed them. But overall, the profile's there and everything.
Yeah. It's got all those.
It's got all those attributes that you look for in a fly. So.
And it's mobile.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the realistic flies in the past were immobile, rigid. They've been made incredible. They're works of art, but they were works of art. They weren't fishing flies that we could easily take to the water. What I did was basically took synthetics to the next level, cutting out body shapes that are incredible and combining it with foam. Because there are times when actually you want to combine the materials to get the best of both. I mean, if you look at the first part of this range that we've been playing with today, we've got, for saltwater, we've got squid tails, real simple. We've got really big crayfish. I know you're a particular lover of permit fishing and salt. And if you look at the
crab skeletons,
there's the crab skeleton. Now, because of the laser, you feel those edges. You can actually feel those legs are mobile but solid.
I mean, this is interesting. It's one of the sort of templates, if you like, that immediately caught my eye, because I thought, oh my God, they're just ideal for floating crab. Lightweight, mobile. You form that foam shell over them, and you've got the perfect floating crab.
There's the exoskeleton. You actually look. You can put this on the hook if you want to weight it. Then sure, weight it. But the important thing is you've got the body. It's got all the eyes and all the attributes, and there we are. Yeah. And what I'm very much a proponent of is looking at what the finished thing will be, and I love looking and thinking I can see where that's going to go. Yeah. And where that's going to go is into these.
Yeah, that's perfect, isn't it? I mean, we were tying earlier. I actually drew a little set of eyes on that. Not that it's needed, because you just look at that profile from underneath, crab on the surface.
Yeah, I mean, the blues, they float, and the beauty is this material is white. It takes permanent marker pens. So, I mean, you've got some there. I've got a box of 80 different colours that I use to play with. But then you can get some beautiful pens to do highlighting with. So you can get the detail. Yeah. And you look at those, they were just done with marker pens. But if we get into some of the crayfish patterns, the detail that we can put in. I mean, if you look at the antennae, I don't know how well that will look on the camera. Can you actually see the antennae there? And you see the stripes on the antennae. Now that is totally different. And people, I mean, I think crayfish is one of the most underrated species in the UK.
I think it's an area that needs looking at. There's a lot of talk these days, certainly on the rivers, of the, it's another subject you can talk about, invasive species, but the signal crayfish.
There it is.
But yeah, I mean, the high source of protein for trout, and there's certain rivers that are now producing big wild brown trout that's suspected that they're getting large feeding on crayfish. So there's good opportunities there, obviously.
I mean, that's a nice small crayfish, and that will work in rivers, it will work in still waters. First time it was used, literally it was cast out, Philippa cast, and from 2 metres away a trout just tore across the water. You saw the bow wave. We put it on the Pro Team Facebook page. It hammered it, absolutely hammered it. And the fun thing is, Philippa, who, like you, loves her dries, loves her nymphs, is suddenly throwing
Sold
these.
as dry fly boxes. No.
But this material gives us the ability to do things that we just can't do with standard materials. So if you look at our crayfish there, oops, dropped. We have a tail, and we have a tail that is going to move as it's retrieved there. So this coming through the water is going to be totally realistic. Took me 5 minutes to tie.
Yeah, but on that note, I mean, I've actually dabbled. I want to compare mine with yours, actually, because I think mine's got a little bit more detail to it. No joking.
Yeah, but
you mentioned a valid point there, actually, Andy. I think for I'm of a like many, which you'll have served your time with what we term traditional fly tying, where you fashion flies using thread, fur, feathers, and sometimes I've been guilty of this in the past of embracing new products and items and things because you almost, and I don't want to label myself this sort of traditionalist, if you like, but this opens up a whole new sort of avenue. And you mentioned one thing before that hit a nerve with me, actually, is that you said within a few moments you've tied this crayfish. Certainly for those coming into fly tying, it just gives them, I can see, some confidence that I'm going to get a relatively realistic looking fly in a fraction of the time. Now, some people would say, oh, that's short-cutting, but at the end of the day, we're fly fishing. We're always looking for other areas and things to explore and materials.
I think there's two things. One is, if you look at us as a fisherman, we want to catch fish. I mean, I've never seen your page on a day where there's not a trout, as long as your arm. Now that is going to get you the fish. I mean, Anne and Philippa were out testing these, and they went to a still water, and they found, horrible signal crayfish. They put it next to a Coke can, and its claws were the length of the Coke can.
Yeah, they get quite big.
And they are eating on these. Philippa's flipping over rocks and seeing little crayfish, 10 millimetres, 12 millimetres long. And it's the signal crayfish. It is bad. But, as a fisherman, that is realistic. That is, whether I'm on, an English still water, an English river, or out in the US on large waters there with a beastie, it's going to work. Whether on the salt water, this pattern is just going to work. It's a question of how quickly can you tie it, how realistic, how much pleasure do you get out of using it, fishing it, because this is a hobby. It's a sport that is loved by us all.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to do is make things realistic and easy. One of my inspirations is my currently 7-year-old grandson, and I've got him tying these. And he's producing flies that are so simple, and the sort of thing I've shown him are simple wiggle tails.
Yeah.
Which it's introducing some real basic techniques, using thread, tying on a bit of chenille, and tying on a body. But the nice thing is, he's going to put that into a still water and he's going to catch.
Yeah.
And for a 7-year-old, it's the future of the sport. For the 60s, the 70s, the older people among us that are lucky enough to go permit fishing how many times a year, these are going to be bread and butter.
Yeah.
they really are going to be.
It definitely makes things easier.
Yeah.
In terms of tying these crab patterns, and we've got various sort of profiles here, Andy. We've spoke about stonefly, the squid tails, these critters, the crayfish, and we spoke about frog legs. You've got damselfly and dragonfly larvae as well.
So if you look at the damsels, we've got all the body profile. I mean, where can you get three tails nice and accurate like that, and still have your mobility? It soaks up water. We've got the body shape there with a set of eyes and a very, very simple thread. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Tell it's live. Sorry, folks.
Just as well, that's not me. I've got a ridiculously loud sneeze.
But we can really create a realistic fly. So,
that's one you tied earlier.
Here's one that, again, I can teach my grandson, but that is as realistic.
But that's achievable for a lot of people. There's a couple of sort of materials on there. It's relatively easy to tie.
Two materials, really easy to tie, and it produces fish.
Yeah.
I mean, as a fisherman, they're the basics. What we're doing is putting a tool set so that you can do what you want. We were in Italy the other week, and we were actually looking at the dragonflies, and they turned around and said, "Oh no, they're brown here." So I simply went and grabbed a marker pen and said, "Like that?"
Yeah.
And he just went, "Yes."
Yeah. Well, that's a nice thing. You've got a blank canvas with them all being white, and you can just colour them to your own ends. They'd work a treat in Chile, actually. There's a particular spring creeker fish where the fish go nuts for dragonfly larvae.
If you look at the different patterns and colours that we use, I mean, this is the squid isn't the crayfish is my favourite.
I know it is.
I love the shape. I love tying it. Did you know there's 63 named varieties on the Mississippi River alone? And there we are, real, simple shape. So it doesn't matter whether it's a small still water, small river in the UK, or whether we're in the States or Canada, anywhere in the world. That's a thing that the fish are going to recognise. And if we just do some real basics, I mean, here's one of the tricks I've developed. When you're doing the big crayfish, underneath I've simply put a piece of foam, and the reason I've done that is
that's attached with super glue, or right?
Glue.
Yeah.
And the reason is twofold. By having that underneath, we straight away, just pinch in hand, get the profile. We're getting the profile. We've got the claws. We've got the antennae. We can see the feet, and then with a bead at the tail, I've now got a jig. That's going to pull through the water, lift, drop, and a real simple additional technique of a bit of foam. We've got the claws and the head rising. We've got the weight on the tail, and we've got the mobility, and that's what it's about. And it's. I mean, you said about Frogger. I've forgotten where he's gone now.
He's over here.
Yeah, Frogger's over there.
Going in my
he's going in your fly box. You look at frogs, and again, you can have any size. You look at the largemouth, smallmouth bass. If you're in the States, you look at pike in the UK.
I've caught brown trout in the UK with frog as big as that.
Really?
Yeah. I caught a fish one day on a buzzer, actually. And I'm playing it away, and I can see this olive thing in the corner of its mouth as I'm playing it. And I'm thinking it's someone else's flying there, a streamer, a big. And when I got the fish in, there's this bloody great big frog jammed in its throat, and the legs trailing out either side.
Yeah.
So
well, the great thing is, I mean, this one is a popper frog. What we've done is simply cut some EVA foam to form a mouth. So you see a little triangle around the front, and now we're going to have
it's gonna pop.
We're going to have movement. That's going to have the right profile. I mean, I think those feet are about as feet and arms are as realistic as you're going to get, and that is just going to pop through the water. You know, it's creating all the things we as fishermen look for: noise, movement, profile. You know, it's just fish food. It's protein, and I mean some of the things that we overlook in the UK. We were down at Philippa's Water the other day, and not only did we see the crayfish, but the leeches. You know, you look at leeches; they're everywhere. Now, all these come with 8 bodies in a pack. These come as a single sheet, and you'll see, Paul, that what we've done is got a variety of patterns. Tibby's done a stunning job taking the designs and tweaking them. So we've got the leech that's full of blood, we've got different profiles, and what have we got to do? We've got simply some peacock curl on the front and the leech body.
Yeah.
It is simple, but it works. And that's what it's about. You know, these in, you know, the colder and the small rivers.
Yeah, but leeches are fairly widespread actually. We get them on a lot of rivers here in the and still waters for that matter. So
and
very important.
It really is just an essential foodstuff for trout. You know, it's one of the many things that I don't think we use enough. You know, we do tend to stick to what we're used to and what we're taught. And actually, you know, whatever you say about crayfish, good or bad, they're there. And I mean,
they're not going away, sadly.
No, and you know from your waters, some of the big trout, they're gorging on these things.
Yeah.
You know, but as I say, there's quite a bit in the new range. You look at these. I mean, these for the US, there's the Dobson fly. When they land on the back of your neck, it feels like a bat has landed.
Yeah.
And when you see the beast that it comes from, you know, the Helgramite, it is just an absolute. I mean, you thought I was joking when I tied this thing up, but there it is. Again, a real simple tie. We've just used some extreme string, 40mm strands, and 30mm pearl to give us that underbody movement, and we've got the mobility. That's just going to hit the water, and it's going to be a case of it looks right. The great thing, it compresses so that, you know, a fish hits it.
Yeah, it just folds up.
It's going to fold. It's not going to cause damage to the fly. One of the greatest battles I ever had with a pike was when I was using a very soft material, and the pike went through it, and it got so cross it just came back and just kept hitting because you know, the material moved and it thought it missed it, and actually it was just getting, you know, more and more determined.
Right.
And you know, mobility is just one of those key factors that we've got to consider. So, as I say, when you look at all these, I think we've got a lot of fun ahead of us.
Covered quite a lot of bases in terms of the different sort of profiles. Are you planning to add to that at this moment? Right. Maybe I shouldn't have asked that question.
I looked at the different suedes, synthetic suedes in the market, and this one I settled on because it is so thin. I wanted thin and resilient. However, I'm also looking at things like fish patterns, and I want fish skeleton. Now it needs
interesting.
It needs a dorsal. It needs, you know, adipose. It needs a tail. So a thicker suede will allow us to develop that profile. You know, you look at simple patterns like that. If we put the eyes down here, we can use it on salt water as a squid. We can use this just as a pike fly. Some of the waters you go on, it can probably do for some of the trout you're after. But yeah, we've got this is only the beginning of the range, you know. And the great thing is with the protein, you know, we all work so well together that, you know, we have these as a base profile. Well, already you're sitting there and saying, right, I'll tweak it. well, we can take that and actually make it it can be.
It does. That size in particular lends itself to caddisfly larvae here in the UK.
And that's with the technology we've got, the amount we've spent on all the new equipment. It's fairly easy for us to just go and do a redesign. When we started prototyping these, Melvin turned around and said, "He missed the stonefly," and that was on the Friday, and by the Monday, because we've spent so much time working with the tools, developing them, and I think it's going to be quite exciting now. You look at the patterns we've got, you look at the creativity. It doesn't matter whether you're 7 or 70, you're going to be able to create flies. I mean, you look at this. That was created by an artist at a show. Yeah. She took the body. And it's beautiful.
I'm intrigued with that one. Did you colour that one?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing here. You can literally do whatever you want.
If you look at the colours of crayfish in the Mississippi and in
I haven't
been
lucky enough to fish there yet, Andy. Maybe we should do a research trip.
I think it's essential that we go and do a research trip. I think it'd be really good. But it's like in Italy. Our dragons are brown.
Yeah.
Fine. If we're creating a bait, which is what we're doing with a fly, we're trying to create something that attracts a fish. We need to give it the colour, the profile, and the movement. I know how much colour in dubbing, for example, means to you.
Yeah.
And the beauty of this is we can actually get the colours we want. You look at pen sets. I mean, this was just off of Amazon.
It's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think this was 20, 30 quid. Yeah. It'll last for ages. It gives me the flexibility. So you look at the blue crab here. You look at the different colours of the different blues. I can get a real level of realism that I can't with traditional materials. And it's inspired also new thoughts. Somewhere here, one of the crayfish we did earlier, I suddenly thought, I was using chenils as a underbody. And I suddenly thought, why am I just taking a standard chenille? And I got marker pens and just mottled it.
Yeah.
And actually, the effect of mottling, I think you've got.
I did it on mine. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes out. Just a great colour. Absolutely fabulous.
It's suddenly making me think about how I use things differently, and I think that's the exciting thing. This is providing inspiration. The perspiration has been done by the team and myself in creating the products. Now it's all about inspiration. It's getting it to people like yourself to play with, and for me, the pleasure of seeing you, looking at a ryak and saying, okay, I can alter this slightly. Looking at a stonefly and the coloration. Yeah. It's just so rewarding. For Melvin, who was with us earlier. I did him a crayfish, which he's taken away, because the in Yorkshire we've got the white clawed. Now, actually,
we've still got them in Cumbria as well.
Very easy to, produce, to colour up and produce something that is so close to the natural. So. You're pleased? Nice.
It's very interesting day. It's been super, but a little bit mind-blowing in some respects.
I knew when I showed you at the very beginning.
It's a lot to take in.
It was, for me, it was really exciting because our team have been playing with it, internally. They've been fishing with it. They've been using it before we spoke to anyone. And say, starting, we had, I think it was about 10, 12 of the team last weekend playing with this and creating their own patterns. The reaction's been the same from everyone. It's, you know, I can create my own version of whatever the fly is, and that's the exciting thing. I mean, looking at just some of the flies you've got there, Paul, they're stunning creations.
Yeah. Well, it's early days. I mean, you know, I had a few misfires today myself in coloration. You get a little bit frustrated, but
yeah,
but that's fly tying. It's a journey. It's development.
If you got it right every time, it'd be a bit boring. It's, you know, it is about the excitement of the journey. To me, that is the real key. You know, I don't even need to catch the fish. You know,
I do.
Okay, yeah, I do, but I love just, you know,
I know what makes you tick.
To see that fish go across the water, it's so exciting. You know, I think it was the Victorian days. They were more bothered about just getting the salmon hook, and then they passed it to the servants to actually get the fish in. You know, to me, it's, have I done enough to fool that trout? Have I done enough to fool the pike or permit crab or whatever, you know, we're going for? So, let's say I think we're okay.
Okay, well, Andy, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and how you've come together with this range. It's been very, very, very interesting and exciting times ahead.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, folks.